I remember having the big secret of, I don't think I can do this anymore. I couldn't do it on antidepressants with panic attacks and fear, night terrors. It just didn't compute to be doing something that I'd love to do, that I felt gifted in that area, that I'd had this opportunity presented to me. And yet inside, it was just maddening. There was such chaos, and I didn't understand, but I knew that I needed to walk away. And so I just began processing that every day. Even if I'd be in an interview or I'd be in the studio, I would be thinking, how do I do this? I remember asking God for a sign. I didn't want it to be about anybody else. I didn't want anybody influencing this decision. I remember being in an airport. It was a very busy airport. And at this point, I just kind of was numb. I would just be where I needed to be, do what I needed to do. And I had all these self-help books. And I remember I'd gotten a new one that I was so excited about taking on this trip. It was a full band show. We were in this really big airport, and we go to our gate and the flight's delayed. And I'm excited because that means no one's going to call me on my phone. They're going to think I'm on a plane, and I can read my self-help book. I remember noticing out of the corner of my eye, an airline worker pushing a woman, African-American woman, probably in her late 80s, up in a wheelchair about 2 gates down. And there was nothing at either gate. No airline workers, no people. It was just empty. And they pushed her facing the wall. And I thought to myself, that's so strange. Why would they do that to her? And I could tell she was trying to move the wheelchair, but there was no one to help her. I remember saying something to my husband like, look, they left that lady over there by herself. And he said, well, maybe you should go help her. And I was like, no, I'm not going to help her. I have my self-help book. I am all alone. No one's going to call me. No one needs anything from me. I've got time to be quiet. But I couldn't shake it. I kept looking over at her, and she was trying to move this wheelchair. So I thought, okay, I was raised by Pat Thompson. My mama used to take us to nursing homes, and we would feed people. And she's a good mama, and what would she say to me right now? She would say, get up and go help. So I got up out of my seat, and I went over to her, and I said, ma'am, do you need to go somewhere? And she said, yes, I need to go to the restroom. I started to wheel the wheelchair back and told her, listen, my flight's delayed. I can help you. My name is Cyndi. I'm happy to take you, because I wanted her to feel safe. And she thanked me and said, let's go. So I began to push her wheelchair, and I looked ahead, and there's the busy traffic of the airport. There are people coming and going, and I thought, how am I going to get to the bathroom through this traffic? And I was like, the only way to do it is just to start, right? So I just started pushing her into the traffic, and I remember bumping into this one girl. She was young, and she was so angry at me for getting in the way, right? And I thought, that felt like, wow, our life is so busy, and here I am doing something that had value and mattered, right? So it stopped me for a minute, and then I just kept going. And I get into the bathroom, and no one's in there. It's just me and her. And I set her up to go to the restroom, hang her purse on the inside of the door, and she was just thanking me. When she finished, I helped her get back in her wheelchair. And at this point, we've had no conversation. I've been behind her the whole time, pushing her to this bathroom. She put me in front of her wheelchair. Like, she grabbed my hands and brought me around, and she held onto my hands, and she said, you need to make the choices in your life that make you happy. And she dropped my hands. Instantly, I knew that God had sent someone of a different race, a different age, even with a disability, to be so loud to say, it's okay to step away. I went back to my seat, and I sat down, and I looked at my husband, and I said, I'm leaving the industry. And he said, okay. And I said, don't you want to know what just happened to me? And he said, no, I trust you. I mean, yes, tell me, but that was the sign that I needed. One minute she was an elderly woman who needed everything from me. And in another minute she was strong and knew everything about me. It was God's way of penetrating my heart to say, it's okay to step away. After that, I played a few more shows and made the meeting to go meet with Mike Dungan at Capitol Records to tell him.